Recording in progress.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Let's see. Mrs. Pruitt, do you know if Dr. Cabral will be able to, should we wait until she's able to connect on camera?
She's here.
Oh, there we go. Great, excellent. Alrighty, so everybody's here. Let's go ahead and get started. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Easton School Committee meeting of Thursday, June 8th, 2023. This meeting will be conducted remotely over Zoom. Attendance by committee members will be remote, and remote attendance shall count toward quorum. The meeting will be broadcast live and recorded on ECAT. This meeting is open to the public, and comments will be taken via the chat feature of Zoom. Full name and address must be included with any comments or questions, and we will try to address any questions that have been asked, but will not respond to questions that have already been answered. Okay, so let's see. Meeting called to order. I'd like to make a first motion of the night is to move the presentation of the Easton Middle School School Improvement Plan to our next item on the agenda. Mr. Carroll has the Easton Middle School concert, which begins at 7 p.m. and would like to make his presentation before the concert and get to the concert as early as possible. So can I get a second?
Second.
And roll call vote.
DeLuca, yes.
Durance, yes.
Star, yes.
Loomis, yes.
Okay, great. Mr. Carroll?
Michelle, I'm sorry. Last week I was doing me first before you. I will wait next time.
Thank you for moving me up. I want to make sure that I get over to the grade 6 spring concert. I'll miss the introductions, but I do want to get there for the chorus before they finish their performance. So thank you. I'm just going to switch over and share my screen. Oops. Okay, this is the 2023-24 school improvement plan moving forward into next year. I just want to take a quick second to thank the members of the school council this year for all of their effort throughout the year. Jen Daly was my co-chair. Elizabeth Dudley, one of the parents on the school council. Casena Alcantara Consalves as well, and Lisa Taba. And then for faculty members that were on our school council, Michelle Goldman, a grade 6 teacher, Sue Lynn, one of our grade 8 ELA teachers, and Lindsay Whalen, who is one of our math coaches in the building. Our community member was Christopher Mills from the Easton Fire Department. And jumping forward right into the goals, many of our goals were 2-year goals moving forward into the second part of the year. We did revise and refine those goals as we move forward. School goal number 1 is by June 2024, Easton Middle School will establish new school-wide approach to improve behavior of all students, reducing student behaviors, particularly in bullying and cyberbullying by 10% as measured by the 2023 Youth Health and Wellness Survey. The data behind that was coming out of the pandemic. We had seen a sort of a shocking increase in the amount of students on the 21 survey data that showed that bullying had increased to 36.2%. Most of that driven by a real high percentage of students that were dealing with electronic bullying that had doubled. So 26.2% of that number was in the electronic bullying area. So that was concerning numbers, which led us to this goal. Some of the things that we already did in the first year, just so you know, we had Katie Greer come in, who she's really a nationally known internet safety expert, and she speaks to cyberbullying and proper use of cell phones and technology and apps. She talks about the hidden dangers of the apps. We brought her in. We were able to do 4 presentations that included the RO 5th grade, our 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade this year, and a parent presentation at night. That actually went over so well in terms of the parent presentation, that then expanded to the high school, where I believe she did 4 presentations for all grade levels at the high school, and a second parent presentation for all parents in the district and even parents outside the district that just wanted the information. So we have been working on that goal throughout the year, but we do plan more things for next year. The action steps that we're currently doing throughout this year and that we plan to continue to do or have added for next year. We have a grade level summer reading program that has a selection of books in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade that the students can choose from. It's no longer the one book, one school, but we do have a selection of books at each grade level. All of those books target the theme of anti-bullying. We're also incorporating into our programming materials from the Harbor. We have a partnership with Jostens, and Mike Smith is really the speaker and the brains behind a program called the Harbor, which is an online instructional video library. It's a resource for all of our teachers where we can use these smaller videos. It's like a short video, about a 10-minute video. It comes with embedded questions, discussion questions for the students, and it's something that we're wrapping into use within our focus periods. And we have we've taken all of those videos at this time, put them into a library, and we have them available to all the teachers in Google Drive. It's also something that we can use across the board in grade levels when we see different areas that we want to address based on either student behavior or bullying. We've also identified and trained peer student leaders. We just finished our 2nd year of this. We're training 7th and 8th graders. The peer leadership program is sponsored by the Anti-Defamation League. It's World of Difference Institute. It provides students with opportunities to reinforce really the school core values, such as respect and civility. We train the 7th and 8th graders, and then we have them go out and they speak to our 6th grade classes. There's also some other functions that they put on as well. There was they brought in a handicapped basketball team and had a wheelchair basketball game that the students were able to watch and even participate slightly in as well. It was really big success right after our spring dance. We're going to incorporate, as I said, with that Harbor program, we're going to incorporate more of the focus period programming into materials to help the teachers, give them resources for difficult topics to build a more inclusive school community, and particularly for this goal, to be able to wrap in that anti-bullying theme throughout the year. We've also, we're in year 2. We had a program this year where we trained a number of teachers in grade 6 and in grade 7 in the CPS behavioral program here at the middle school. It involved teachers working with certain students based on like a case study, really looking to address students, not from a standpoint of when a student does something wrong, it's straight discipline, but try to address the lagging skills the student is missing to help them grow. So that's something that we did. We did the training this year in grade 6 and grade 7. We're going to use the train the trainer model and try to spread it throughout grade 6 and grade 7, and then eventually to grade 8. We are also in the process, and this is really a district initiative, but it's part of our goals because it impacts us here in the area of bullying. But all the assistant principals, whether it's Blanche Ames, Richardson Olmsted, the high school or the middle school, are working together to create a parent education presentation on bullying, which includes an anti-bullying initiative. We anticipate that's something that may be done by the end of the summer. And moving forward, the rest of this year and throughout the summer, we're researching really dynamic anti-bullying assemblies, so that we can schedule programs that address this theme for all grade levels here at the middle school. School goal number 2, we want to promote high academic expectations through increased Tier 1 instruction for all students and focused intervention for the lowest performing 20% using research-based instructional programs. And Tier 3 intervention opportunities will increase the impact for the lowest 5% of our students who have the greatest need. By 2024, progress will be made in the areas of achievement and growth in MCAS ELA, helping to meet the state accountability target. The data behind that is that our ELA, MCAS data has showed us that it's been fairly stagnant recently. In the 2021 data, 10% of our ELA students as a whole, grade 6, 7, and 8, were exceeding expectations, 47% meeting expectations. And the 2022 data, it was 6% exceeding expectations and 48 meeting expectations. That combined with some concerning data, as you know, from the MCAS data presentation that I did in the fall, certainly areas that we've identified in like grade 7 with writing is an area that we're continuing to focus on and try to improve. Our action steps for that, we review MCAS data and identify areas of achievement and challenge each year. We also identify areas within the curriculum that we need to make an impact on, and then share that out to the teachers. We schedule and hold grade level data meetings in all MCAS areas, and we also 3 times a year assess the students using the STAR 360 benchmark data, which we find correlates really well to success on MCAS. Students that have improved in STAR, as we sort of take a look at the student data throughout the course of the year, also show those same trending improvements on MCAS. So it's something we're going to continue to use when we're doing it on a regular basis in each trimester. We're going to synthesize findings into a meaningful collaborative way with the data review teams and the teachers. We're doing that also by each semester, and we review that using our coaches. We talk about the trends and the data, and we design our interventions accordingly. We're going to schedule regular meetings of the student intervention team. That's something that we're much stronger on this year, and we're going to continue that into next year. And we hope we're going to see greater success in our student scores from that. Students can be referred to the student intervention team, not just for academic reasons, but they could also be referred for behavioral reasons, emotional reasons, even attendance reasons. And so we're continuing to address that and sort of give teachers more tools to be able to sort of impact students that are struggling before we make referrals to our student intervention team. And we've also been meeting throughout this year, and those meetings will continue to sort of streamline that with the other schools so that the systems that we have in place are consistent, not just here at the middle school, but is something that is consistent as those students transition to the high school as well. We also want to increase opportunities to allow for vertical conversations among staff. Knowledge of the standards, improved differentiation across grade levels are factors that we're to improve. We're trying to give teachers, it's great that we have common planning time at each grade level, but it's really difficult sometimes to provide opportunities for a 6th grade teacher to sit down with a 7th grade teacher in the same subject area, or a 7th grade teacher with an 8th grade teacher. And that's something that we're trying to prioritize so that we provide those opportunities. We're piloting as we move forward into next year, the Just Words program, which is an intensive intervention program targeting students who fall between the 15th and the 50th percentile on an initial screening, and we'll have all students doing the initial screening right at the start of the school year. We also want to give students supplemental computerized programs, give parents also tools to help their students at home. We do so now with Lexia, IXL, and iReady. That's also something that we utilize within the focus periods as well, and we use as an additional support for our accelerated math students as they're getting ready to transition from grade 6 grade level math to the accelerated math program in grade 7. We're going to establish a group to review the information that we received from the Next Step Solutions schedule evaluation, which took place on not just our schedule and how to better use our staff and how we can make changes within our schedule that would be helpful to student learning, but also in the special education area. So we're going to continue to review that and plan for changes in the future. and introduce and implement the updated Easton Public Schools DCAP, which recently a group had met to evaluate across all grade levels. We did a presentation in one of our faculty meetings recently about the changes in the DCAP. It's really just an opportunity for teachers to have more resources of what is available to them to help students that are struggling, but it's accommodations and things that can be done without need of a 504 plan or without need of an IEP plan. These are things that are practices of really just good teaching, but we want to sort of share that information, spread it out to the teachers, and get them used to having this list of accommodations that are available to them to help students when they see students are struggling. That same information is also stuff that we use to do before we would make a student referral to student intervention team if a student is struggling. School goal number 3 is Easton Middle School will continue implementation of the Understanding by Design planning process and structure to guide new curriculum and reorganize existing curriculum. By 2024, all departments will revisit the framing of all vertically aligned units and full development of all units in all stages, and the implementation of units using Understanding by Design process and incorporating the Massachusetts State's frameworks, and providing implementation in select areas. The current reality and the data behind that is right now our curriculum leaders participated in a professional development program to revise units. Revision is necessary, in different areas based on maybe changing state frameworks. The social studies department has undergone recently significant changes. So a lot of the work that we had done on UBD had to be revised because, what we were teaching at what grade level had changed significantly in all grades in 6, 7, and 8. Faculty continues to work on UBD units writing. That's during the summer and during professional development days when we have that time. And grade 6 and grade 7 currently are implementing a new literacy program that I'll talk about in the action steps. In the action steps, we obviously want to increase opportunities for departmental collaboration within the PD schedule. That's always helpful for our groups to have times departmentally to work on UBD units. We do need to revisit the framing of our units, particularly in social studies and ELA. We want to implement completed units using the Understanding by Design process in some areas. And the reason why I say some areas is some areas are much further along and some areas are sort of back to the drawing board, revisiting what they've already done because of changes either to the frameworks or based on where we're going with a program. We're going to provide feedback on implementing and using a peer review process. That is something that's coming at the end when the units get to approval. And this year, another one of our action steps, we piloted Wit and Wisdom in our grade 6 programs this year. It's something that we adopted and we're moving forward with for next year in grade 6. And we're also piloting it in grade 7 this year. So moving forward, we'll be using Wit and Wisdom in grade 6 and in grade 7. Grade 7 is currently a pilot. And we're going to implement a district level curriculum review process. So once we have completed units and they are done, there'll be a process for the approval and adoption of those units. And we continue to provide or are looking to provide this year culturally responsive training to all our curriculum leaders so that they can inject that into the units. And school goal number 4, by June 2024, Easton Middle School will establish new hiring practices that will recruit, support, and retain the highest quality faculty and staff. The data sources and the current reality behind that. Right now, we're currently, we form interview committees anytime we have an opening. The interview committees will review applications and identify the candidates that we're interviewing. When possible, and I say when possible because sometimes either timing or the summer months can be difficult to find students that are willing to come in and sit in a very hot classroom and be there for a practice lesson. But oftentimes you'd be surprised we can do that. But we always try to have, once we have candidates and we've gone through the interview process, we want to see them in front of our own students. So we typically will have students come in, have teachers come in or teacher candidates come in do a practice lesson, a small 20-minute lesson in front of our students. And then we allow the students to provide feedback to us as to what they liked or didn't like about the lesson or the candidate. We currently explore all of our, we are currently, as exploring the candidate, we check references, and we also do a social media check for all candidates. And I'll just say in last year, we had 2 student teachers. This year we had 2 student teachers. We're always looking to increase that number. We also, last year, we had 2 student observers, or students who are in that stage just before student teaching that are doing observation hours in the classroom. We had 2 last year, and this year we were able to increase that number to 3. One of our student teachers this year was a full 1-year intern as well. So we did have an increased presence from student teachers this year, which is always good when it comes to recruitment of staff. Our action steps, we want to increase opportunities for both formal and informal observation and feedback. We're doing that not just in the evaluation system, but with our coaches. We want to create new job descriptions that will increase the attractiveness of the posted positions. We want to establish partnerships with universities to help target top candidates. We've done a pretty good job, I think, with Stonehill and with Bridgewater State, but there's also room for more partnerships as well. Merrimack seems to be on the horizon as well currently. We want to accept student teachers and interns looking to complete any kind of practicum hours or pre-practicum hours or observational hours. And so basically, when a school reaches out to us and they want to place a student teacher, we're really trying to always have the answer be yes, because we want to have those students here, because that's a great recruitment tool. If somebody is one of the best young educators coming out of school, we want to make sure we know who they are and have the opportunities to try to hire them if we have an open position. We also want to increase attendance at job fairs, increase visibility for Easton Public Schools or Easton Middle School, and identify outstanding teaching candidates. Establish new teacher roundtable meetings that take place at the end of our monthly faculty meetings, in which all teachers that are new teachers can sit and share experiences that they've had, because it's not enough just to recruit the best teachers, but you also want to support them as well so that they're successful and they have a solid and wonderful career in Easton, as many have. And we want to implement new ways to prioritize the hiring of a diverse faculty and staff to better mirror our student population. Questions and comments?
Okay, any committee members have questions or comments for Mr. Carroll? Just looking.
Jen, I do.
Nope,
Nancy?
go ahead, Nancy. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, Luke. That was very good. And the you said something about goal two. Jeff? Did you say Jeff?
Jeff?
I don't know. On goal 2, you said there was a thing you were going to be following. I didn't see it on the paper. I don't know.
Just words, Nancy?
What is it?
Just words?
Oh, just words. Okay. It's just me then. It's like, I don't know what's going on. Just words. Thank you. And then one more thing, Mr. Carroll. When are we having signage put up at Easton Middle School?
They have the hole was dug yesterday, right out as you come down to the end of Columbus Ave, as you're getting to the area and facing the parking lot and the new road that was put in. Right on that corner, they have dug the area for the concrete and the footings. So they're starting to put up the sign. The delay that we had was they were taking our old sign and using, sort of the old sign that we did have, but it was going to be more in a stone structure, similar to what you see at Blanche Ames. So when you get to at the end of Columbus Ave, it's going to be right there, and they have started putting it in. I think, I can't imagine it's going to take much longer than 2 or 3 days before.
Okay. I know that doesn't have anything to do with school improvement, but you're the only school in town without a sign. Okay, very good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Michelle?
I just want to, it's more of a comment, not a question. I really want to thank you for putting such a focus on addressing the bullying that I've been hearing. I don't have kids in the middle school anymore, but I've been hearing a lot about, and I didn't realize what a bigger issue it was until we were sitting with the various candidates for Teresa's position, and community members and teachers, I kept coming up and up and up and up about that concern at the middle school. So thank you for really making that the focus of your work going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think in phase one, we were really trying to target the electronic bullying because that's where we saw a huge surge. It's really difficult because, you know, a lot of these things are happening, you know, after school, weekends, nights, you know, through phones and things like that. We're going to try to make some changes in our digital literacy program to help the students make better decisions. We're going to try to continue to educate parents as best we can in that area. But certainly as we move forward, you know, with school-wide student assemblies, we're searching for really dynamic programs that we can bring in that will really help the students. And then we're trying to also support them in the focus period as well.
Thank you.
Great. Any other questions or comments? Lauren?
Hi, I have a quick question. Can you explain, you mentioned the student intervention team. Who makes up that team?
We have two coaches, Jeannie Bax and Lindsay Whalen, and then we also have three interventionists, one at each grade level in reading, and three interventionists in math, one at each grade level. The interventionists this year were predominantly used for tier 2 intervention or pushing into the classes to help support teachers with certain students. This year, that's predominantly how it was. And then during focus periods, we'd also provide intervention and help students in those areas. During the focus period, we would run intervention classes as well. We did that Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Now, moving forward next year, we're looking at adding more to that tier 3 component where students are getting additional instruction in either reading in ELA or additional instruction in math. So that intervention is not where they would come out of math class. It is in addition to math class. It's not about the current curriculum, but filling those holes that may exist from the past. So this year we're adding more components to that tier 3 piece, and we're looking to schedule students really for a double math class or a double ELA/reading class when appropriate with our students who have the most challenges, and then we'll rotate that in much like we do special subjects.
Great, thank you. Actually, one more question. The goal that was, and I don't remember exactly what you were referring to, but something was between 15 to 50% percentile.
Yeah, that's the new Just Words intervention program when we do the screening. Yeah,
that's a huge amount of percentile.
Yes, yes, it is. You know, and we really won't know what those numbers are until we do that initial first screening right at the start of the school year. You know, and then from there, we'll try to schedule those kids for that tier 3 intervention. But like I said, even if it is a large number, it doesn't have to be addressed at the same time for all students, because we will rotate it in so that it replaces maybe a special subject. So the students, typically when a student has intervention, if you do the intervention and you do it well, they don't need it to continue. They need a short intervention to catch them up, to fill in some gaps, and then they don't need it any longer. So that is our hope, that even though it is you know, a large gap in those numbers, and it could be a significant number of kids, we feel as though within the schedule we have the structure in place so that we can address those student needs effectively throughout the year.
So if I could just chime in on this one, if you don't mind. So this is going to be a pilot that it's a partnership with Wilson, the company Wilson, who actually publishes foundations, which we use in K through 3, and we will be using in pre-K next year as well, as part of a pilot and study from Wilson as well. They are now launching a study for Just Words for grades, and we are participating in that study in grades 4 through 8. And what's happening by being a part of that study is that we are receiving free professional development. They are coming in and testing our students. They're going to teach us how to utilize the materials. And then we will be targeting up to 25 students per grade to receive this intervention. We're going to see how many kids qualify, but with the strong foundations training, the implementation of foundations, we are thinking that in the younger grades, we aren't going to see as many students that need this intervention. That's kind of like our hypothesis that we're going into this with. So it'll be interesting because we're going to have a lot of data to look at, a lot of research that we'll be reviewing, and it will be a great opportunity for us to really use this to kind of look at closing the achievement gaps, because this also can be used with some of our special ed students as well. So our language-based students, so that this is really a great opportunity for us.
Thank you so much.
Okay, do committee members have any other comments, questions? Great, so Mr. Carroll, I know that we're definitely keeping an eye on the time. I do have one question for you, I think, and then we can go ahead and move this to a vote. So again, I always appreciate your improvement plans and how data-driven they are, and that you have very specific metrics around them. So well done as always. On the bullying goal, one perception that I hear is maybe a misunderstanding or dissatisfaction from parents when their children are involved in a scenario at school with the response. So maybe they feel like it wasn't, it's not taken seriously, or the response isn't timely, or nothing changes, the scenario is continuing, et cetera. So within your action plan, is there an opportunity to examine and perhaps explain and communicate out the administrative side of things? Because I'm sure, when you have families involved, it's a very, it's difficult. It's they're feeling that their child isn't safe. There's a lot of heightened emotions, but I'm sure from the administrative side, there's also a lot of information that, maybe, families may not understand about what you all are doing, and this, the strategies that you're using, and the steps and the constraints that you have. So I'd love to hear a little bit about how that can fit into the action plan.
Yeah, well, I mean, in the action plan, because I am aware of many of the things that you sort of brought up, and I mean, the simple fact is, and I've been at the high school level, and I've been here at the middle school level for almost 20 years. I've been on the front lines as an assistant principal before principal. To think that bullying doesn't exist or can't exist in a middle school, if you think you've stomped it all out, then you're really sticking your head in the sand. Developmentally, the kids that we have are growing. They're making mistakes. They're learning. They're socializing in awkward and not so awkward ways. They're at times being harmful and mean. There's always educational components to that. The other thing that we find too is that oftentimes the word bullying gets used very easily, but yet something doesn't necessarily fit the criteria of bullying. And so one of the reasons why the assistant principals across the district are working on some parent information and presentation is to have people better understand what truly is bullying versus an event that happened. And something, that is, that requires more repetition, and, a consistent aggressor and a change in power and things like that. So that educational component is something we're definitely looking to work on. Some of the biggest problems that we had, like, coming out of, sort of the pandemic, and some of those high numbers that we were seeing regarding bullying. Last year, as you may remember, when I was here last year, was a very difficult year behaviorally for, I think, all middle school students in general. No one could have anticipated, I think everyone sort of knew that there was going to be a regression in academic skills, but I don't think anybody could have anticipated the regression in the social skills that we were seeing. So this year has been a much better year for us. I do have high hopes on the survey data that we have moving, that we'll have moving forward in December. But we are trying to get better at, sort of educating parents as to bullying, the bullying process, the referral process, what actually is the definition of bullying and what it looks like. But anytime that we have a referral regarding bullying, we completely follow up. But sometimes that follow up is a difficult conversation, and what took place was not bullying. It doesn't mean that there isn't follow up. It just doesn't fit the bullying definition. So we still follow up with student discipline. We still provide educational components and try to be proactive in that area along with consequences, and try to continue to sort of work with our teachers and our teams, and having teaming at the middle school. One of the reasons is to create more small schools within a school, and to have us know the kids a little bit better, have trusted adults, and be able to work with the kids. So we do have components in that action plan, to share out better to parents and educate and provide other anti-bullying initiatives there too.
Okay, great.
So,
Thank you.
What I'm hearing, I'm sorry, what I'm hearing is that there's going to be a lot more explanation about what it is, what it isn't. But then also, if it's not the legal definition of bullying, then what happens then, and how are some different things, or what are some different things that parents can do, students can do, and the school can do to support them, and that is going to be in that project as well.
Yes, and if I can chime in, because I'm working with the assistant principals on this, and we met already. We actually talked about having the presentation this past May, at the end of May or June, and we decided to actually put it off until the beginning of October, because we think we'll get more of an audience in October, at the beginning of October, which we know that this information really needs to be shared. One of the things that's in the presentation is going to also be resources for parents, what they can do to support their child, even if it doesn't fit the educational, the term that we use as bullying, the legal definition. We still put in place safety plans for children. That is something that I'm very proud of in Easton, that our assistant principals recognize that even though it may not be defined as bullying, that children don't feel safe, and what we need to make sure that they do feel safe at school. And our assistant principals work tirelessly to ensure that those plans are in place for our students. But I hear you on the communication. We're going to have that all laid out, and with our new and fabulous website that's coming, it will also be on our website, with easy accessibility for families to view the process.
That's great. Thank you. So I, again, really appreciate that this is a part of, the number one goal in the school improvement plan. And I think that parent education piece will be really key to helping people understand, because obviously we don't have a huge audience for this. A lot of parents might, probably don't know that this is a big focus. So I think getting that communication out there will be hugely helpful. So that'll be great.
It is. I do want to note something that Luke said, though, that is really important. Is a big part of this is parent cooperation. A lot of this we're seeing, some of the most egregious behaviors are happening outside of, or they're happening via telephones or in social media, and they're not allowed to use them during school. And we're seeing when they're posted, and they are happening outside of school on weekends, in the evening. And really, incidents that happen outside of school are, they can be criminal depending on what is shared. But they are also, when they spill over into school, or they manifest in a negative environment for students and get in the way of their education, that's a problem. But we don't allow them to have the phones in school. And sometimes when we are telling the parents, this is not a positive tool for your student, or there are other tools that they can use. They can have pre-programmed phones if they need to make emergency calls. They shouldn't be on social media. that is met with a lot of resistance. And so we try to provide education in terms of social media platforms, what are some things that are more positive, if you will, for students to use if they need to communicate, but some of the things that really are not developmentally appropriate for some kids, particularly at the middle school, and students who may be a little later developing in their maturity at the middle school. And it's really going to need to be a partnership. And part of this project is going to really try to give tools and strategies for parents. So we're going to be really interested in getting their feedback on this, and also looking for their cooperation and help making this something that's really positive for all the kids.
Great. Thank you. All righty. So anything else for Mr. Carroll before we move this to a vote? Seeing anything? All righty. So I'll make a motion to accept the Easton Middle School School Improvement Plan for 2023-2024. Can I get a second?
DeLuca, second.
And roll call vote?
Durance, yes.
DeLuca, yes.
Star, yes.
Loomis, yes.
Okay,
I
great.
don't know
Thank
what
you,
our
Ms.
new routine is anymore.
You're first, Michelle. All right. Thank you, Mr. Carroll. And I hope the concert's great.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed the pictures of all the kids that you had in there. It was fun to look at.
I think a couple might be old.
Like the one where you don't have a beard.
Yeah, I at least saw Anne Weintraub, one of Anne Weintraub's children that's in college, I think. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Have a good night. Okay, so just make sure our participants are here, and they are. Great. All righty, so next up on the agenda, and we thank them for their patience with being moved down to accommodate Mr. Carroll, is the introduction of the Oliver Ames student representative for school committee. Dr. Cabral.
This is very exciting for us and for you, of course, to be able to have this opportunity for student participation. Student voice is critical to us, to our operations, and we have, as you've seen many times over, a very talented and articulate student body, and we're excited to have them part of this process. So joining us, as you can see, thank you for being here, Mrs. Kavanaugh, principal at Oliver Ames, and Marvel, hi Marvel, Nimmer, who is going to, well, I won't announce anything. I'll let Mrs. Kavanaugh introduce Marvel and talk about the program a little bit more and what we can look forward to. Mrs. Kavanaugh.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited. Maybe 2 weeks ago, I introduced you to the 5 students who were voted to be the school committee advisory board, all excellent students. They're very excited. And they unanimously wanted Marvel to be the non-voting member of the school committee for next year, which I'm very excited about. Marvel's one of those students that every time I turn around, she's involved in something that's trying to make OA a better place for kids. And she's one of my go-tos, and I'm very, very, very excited that you are going to get to know her this year, and that she's going to get to help inform you and also learn from you about the process that school committee goes through in order to ensure that we're doing the best for all of our kids every day. So I'm going to let Marvel jump on and introduce herself. And Marvel, just tell them a little bit about yourself, what you're involved in at the school, and your thoughts about joining the committee.
Good evening. My name is Marvel Nimmer, and I'm a sophomore at Oliver Ames High School. I'm honored and excited to be a non-voting member of the school committee. And as I realize the magnitude of this position and the role I have the privilege of taking, I grow even more appreciative as I strive to embody the students and their desires across all Easton public schools. I've been in the Easton community in public schools since preschool, and I've gotten to see firsthand the best and worst parts of the education system. As a member of many sports, extracurriculars, and more both inside and outside the school, I can confidently say that the Easton Public School provides great educational standards and the extracurricular communities that benefit each and every student uniquely. But there have also been some setbacks that we've acknowledged, from our biggest problems being losing recess in the middle school, or the damage of COVID that has brought about things such as transitioning from middle school to high school, or even high school to college. And of course, the need to bring awareness towards discrimination amongst diverse communities and, the overall student performance. Moreover, my amazing peers, Braylon, Alyssa, Annabelle, Franklin, and I are very pleased to exhibit our dedication and passion towards speaking on behalf of all students and ensuring a greater impact on the educational and non-educational community. Thank you for this amazing opportunity. I can't wait to see the growth where it's at.
Okay, great. Thank you. Does any committee members have any comments or questions for Marvel?
Just welcome, and we look forward to working with you in the coming school year. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Lauren?
Congratulations. This is really exciting. I want to thank you personally because you were one of the ticket doorkeepers at all of the senior events, and you guys were all so good. But it was you, Marvel, that knew who I was and let me in the door. Otherwise, they were all doing such a good job that they weren't going to let me in the door. So thank you, and I'm really
of course.
Michelle?
I just want to say congratulations, and I'm really looking forward to working with you next year. As you know, Mrs. Kavanaugh and I had been working on this for a little while, and it's really nice to see it come to fruition and to have you on board.
Thank you.
Great. And welcome. And I'd like to say, congratulations to you and good job to the student body who were smart enough to elect you as one of the group of student reps and then within the team for selecting you. I think you will be an excellent addition to the committee. And I really, really look forward to working with you and to having you contribute to the work that we do. And can I ask, do you think, are your parents watching or will they watch this later?
Yeah, my mom's on here right now.
Okay, so I gotta say, if you want to write a parenting book or a seminar or a series, I will sign up for it because whatever you're doing an amazing job. Your kids are awesome. So congratulations to your parents as well for raising such great kids. And so we're again really, really grateful for all that you do to contribute to the school community, and now you get to contribute to the town as a whole. So we really look forward to this.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay. All righty. So I know you've got to study for finals, so we will let you go, but we look forward to, and I think if I can be so bold, I think Michelle will continue to work with Mrs. Kavanaugh on logistics and next steps. You'll continue to take that on, Michelle?
Yep, I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Great. All right. Well, we will see you at a future meeting and look forward to getting to work with you. And good luck on your finals.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Great. All right. So next item on the agenda is a vote to approve an overnight out-of-state trip. Dr. Cabral?
Thank you. So as Lynn brings over Mrs. Delatorre, Rosanna is here. She's a special education teacher at Oliver Ames, and she is presenting a proposal to you for your consideration for an out-of-state trip to Bloomington, Indiana for 2 students and 1 advisor to participate in the Best Buddies Leadership Conference. She'll be here shortly, and she's joined by Best Buddies representative, Hannah McNeil. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Hannah.
Hi, how are you?
And very well, thank you. And I'm going to kick it over to Mrs. Delatorre to talk about this proposal and answer any questions you might have.
Yeah, so hello everybody. Good evening. Thank you for having me. Yeah, so the Best Buddies Conference has been, an activity that the Best Buddies have been participating in for years now. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, the conference didn't take place for the past few years. So this is the first time since 2019 that they're holding the conference in person again. Sorry, this is my if anybody hears a little boy, this is my son joining in.
Hi.
You
Hey,
want to say
buddy.
hi? Hi. All right, Mama has a meeting. Okay, I'll be right with you. All right, you.
He's so big.
Nice. His name is Liam. Yes. Hold on. Um, yeah. So we've had, the last time that I went was in 2018, which was when when I took up on the position of co-advisor for Best Buddies at Oliver Ames. And which has been a phenomenal experience, incredibly organized, and safe, and um, we're looking forward to to participating again this year. I brought with me my program manager Hannah, um, who is far more versed, than I could ever be, the logistics of the conference. Um,
Yeah. If you guys have any questions about like we're very regimented about attendance and flight travel tracking and things along that line. So if you have any comments or concerns, you can let me know.
so the way it works, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so the chapter dues that Best Buddies have to pay pays for the participation in the conference for one participant, and then the other participants, pay for their registration. So we have done some fundraising, and the students have agreed, to pay for part of the registration. All attendees are responsible for the airfare. All housing, transportation, meals, everything is provided, is included in that registration fee. And we are housed at Indiana University. All the students, and Hannah can explain this a little bit more, but all students are assigned to a team leader that is responsible for them, throughout the conference. The conference is basically, seminars and workshops from beginning to end. They have an amazing opening ceremony and fantastic speakers, but then Saturday and Sunday is a lot of like networking and leadership development. And like I said, I guess, workshops, like an opportunity for them to develop the skills that then they'll bring, to our chapter, and to be able to continue to grow, and spread the message of equality and inclusion, which is, the ultimate goal, of Best Buddies. And, and I'm gonna mute myself now.
Okay. Do any committee members have any questions or comments about the trip?
I have a cost question. I'm sorry, Jen.
Go ahead, Michelle.
On the last page, I just haven't seen this before on trip, so I don't know, maybe I missed it. There's a cost to student and a cost to district. I hadn't seen that. Usually it's just all the cost to the students or families.
I think I can explain that for Rosanna. Or Hannah, if I'm wrong, let me know. But I know that our Best Buddies registration fee actually goes to pay for a part of the conference registration. And then for the other half of it, we are going to cover that for the students, and the students are going to pay for their own transportation and flights.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Great. So I'm not seeing any. I'll say I think this sounds like oh, go ahead, Lauren.
Sorry. Everyone's responsible for their own transportation. Does that mean they make the transportation on their own? So
yes. So every student. Oh, sorry, Hannah.
Sorry.
It's okay. I mean, yeah. So we have a bunch of picked out flights, and we'll have flight leads on all of those. So whether they're an advisor from another school, a college chapter president, there'll be someone on every single flight going to Indiana that we have as an option. That's basically coordinating travel. So like meeting up at TSA, getting onto the flight until they get off, and then they'll see us and we'll bring them, and we'll have a bunch of shuttle buses running to and from the airport to campus pretty much throughout the day. So no matter what time you come in, there's a Best Buddies person there to pick you up. And we have students submit their travel documents after they book it. So that way we can be sure of when they're coming in, if there's any delays on flights and things like that.
And Michelle?
So you're not traveling as a group, Rosanna?
We actually are, I actually am, like we're traveling. So the two students and myself, like we all have our flights booked on the same day. Um, so that's separate and the same. And on the return, one of the students, she's meeting family that she has in Indiana. So she's taking the opportunity, to meet with family that she has in Indiana. The parents have approved that. We have all the information. And then the other student, will be flying back with me to Boston. Um, and again, been in communication with the parents. The parents know me, they've met me, and then we have everybody. We have all the information that we're gonna have a couple of meetings, like before the actual date of the conference, to iron out any final details that we need.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? No? Okay. Well, it sounds amazing, and I hope you can, hope we can maybe hear from you in the fall about how the trip went. We'd love to hear about it and hear from the students. So that would be really great.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. All right. So, would somebody like to make a motion then to approve this out-of-state trip?
I'll make a motion to approve the Best Buddies Leadership Conference trip on July 21st through the 24th, 2023.
DeLuca, second.
Great. And roll call vote?
Durance, yes.
DeLuca, yes.
Star, yes.
Loomis, yes.
Great. All right.
Have a great time.
Yeah, safe travels.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for your time.
For the cuteness, the cute interruption.
We love kids. This is the crowd to have a kid pop in.
That is true. There's never a crowd.
Right. All right.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. All right. Have a good night.
You too.
All right, so next up on the agenda, this is another fun one, the acknowledgement of the NAAM Foundation Best Community for Music Education Award. So Dr. Cabral.
Thank you. So unfortunately, Mr. Benson can't be with us this evening, but Mrs. Kavanaugh is here, student Cassie Pasias is here, and I think Olivia Rain may or may not be able to join us this evening, but I'll kick this to Mrs. Kavanaugh. This is a prestigious award. Oh, hi, Samantha. I'm sorry. I didn't say Samantha Weintraub as well. This is a prestigious award to be recognized for being a Best Community for Music Education Award. We obviously have a very robust program here that starts at an early age, and it shows because we have these talented performers here. But I will leave it to them to give you further detail and answer any questions about the award that you might have. Mrs. Kavanaugh.
Thank you. This is a very prestigious award. We're one of only a couple hundred communities in the whole entire country who were named by the Association of Music Merchants as one of the best communities in music education. And with us is Sammy Weintraub and Cassie Pashis, who were both the drum majors and the marching band, as well as, in almost every concert you came to this year. So do you guys have something planned to share? Yeah, okay. And Mr. Benson is out because his wife is expecting a baby today. So we're sending him lots of positive vibes right now.
I wasn't sure if I could say that.
Yeah. Well,
okay,
he's texted all of us already to let us know. So, okay. All right. Thank you.
Got it all over Twitter.
Yeah, he does. It's very public now. So we're very, very excited for him and Christine, his wife. So I'll turn this over to Sammy and Cassie now.
Hi guys. First of all, we want to say thank you so much to the NAM Foundation for receiving this award. It's a really big honor, and it's just a really big reflection of what all of us students and all of the staff and administration have worked so hard over the years to create a really nice environment and a really good community in music. So I have a statement from Mr. B, the music department chair. I apologize for being unable to attend this evening. Hopefully, by the time you hear this statement, my wife and I will be well on our way to the arrival of our second child, due to be born today. The NAM Foundation recognition as a best community for music education recognizes and acknowledges a community's commitment to and support of music education. This commitment has to be lived every day by our students, families, and staff in order for a district to be considered for this recognition. From kindergarten music to fourth grade beginner instrumental instruction to middle school choir to high school band, this award shows that we as a community place value on all of our programs and encourage their success at every level. I am so proud of the Easton Music family and our commitment to excellence in the post-COVID reality. So many programs are struggling right now. So many are failing to keep their programs incorporated at all levels. We as a community continue to value the importance of music education in the lives of our students. And for that, NAM selected us, one of only 830 districts in the United States, to receive this honor. Here tonight are two of our OA students, Sammy Weintraub and Cassie Pashas, to accept this recognition on behalf of our program. Sammy and Cassie were drum majors of the OA Tiger Marching Band and have been integral to the success of the music department for their 9 years as outstanding music students. They exemplify that which we value: commitment, character, work ethic, and family, most of all. Thank you for your continued support and for this acknowledgement. We can't wait for next year. So that's Mr. B's message there. And I think Sammy wanted to just speak on behalf of the students as well.
That was well done, Cassie. You sounded just like Mr. Benson. He would be very proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just wanted to quickly say thank you for taking the time to acknowledge this. I've seen, and me and Cassie have seen firsthand, the amount of work that goes into building a community as special and as impactful as this music community. I would consider it one of the safest places at Oliver Ames High School for every type of student. I think it is one of the most important, aspects of our school. And I'm just so grateful to have been a part of it and to have been part of the leadership team especially. And this has been an amazing experience, and it comes from your help. So I wanted to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for all that you do to protect our music department, because I'm really appreciative, because it's been such an amazing impact on my life, but on all of these students' lives. So thank you guys.
Oh, it's the best.
You all right, Jen?
No.
We're all gonna go on pause for a second.
yeah, I'm gonna get my tissues. Any comments or questions from the committee? I'm sure we all have things to say. So Nancy, go ahead.
Okay, congratulations to the whole music department, and I'm so happy that it continues to thrive under Mr. Benson, but yet all the other music teachers and the students, you're right, they're amazing in anything that you guys do, whether it's orchestra, band, chorus, the jazz bands, the guitar club, whatever. So very good, and congratulations.
Hey. Michelle?
I just wanted to say congratulations to you all, which I've said to you all since I found out about it. My son went through the music program starting in, I want to say 4th grade, all the way up. Sean Tamelio, you guys probably know him. And it really was his lifeline from 4th grade on up. And there were times where, I mean that very literally. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to say congratulations before I cry. You guys are awesome. And Mr. B has done an amazing job as the chair, and you guys have just really come back from, bounced back from a couple of things over the years, and I'm just very proud of all of you.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you for being great representatives, not just of the music program, but of the district.
Absolutely, yes. So I am, my kids are band dropouts. They're not, they don't have the tenacity and the stick-to-itiveness that you guys do, but their years in the music program were just so important. The relationship with Mr. Benson that he's able to build with his students is incredible. And I'm very grateful to have been a music parent for the time I was, and I'm a raving Easton Public Schools music fan forever. And I think it's a huge testament, the fact that we have two students here who are out. You guys have graduated, like this could be in the rearview mirror, and you took time out of your very first week of being free from school to come to a meeting and talk about an award. So I think that says really everything about how great this program is and how great the community is, and you two in particular, how much you have contributed to helping really shape and mold and lead that. So thank you so much for being here, and congratulations to everybody involved in making this award happen. It's really, really amazing. So, Lauren, did you want to jump in?
Yeah, really quickly. So congratulations on graduation. Congratulations on this award. I have a third grader, so he starts in the music program next year, and I'm so looking forward to him trying an instrument and seeing what sticks. And you and your peers have been an inspiration for him. We've enjoyed watching you, whether it's concerts or musical or just everything. It's just been a pleasure, and I wish you the best of luck, and thank you for being great leaders and role models.
Thank you, Lauren. Okay, any final comments?
Can I just make one quick comment? I know everybody knows this, but I want to take the moment to publicly state that this program would not be what it is without Mr. Benson. I've never met a more hardworking, student-centered educator in my life. He works way more hours than I do, and it's because he cares about every single kid in this district. And you guys are awesome. The kids are great in the program. They're what makes it the family, and they're the ones that make it one of the most inclusive programs in the district. And it wouldn't be that way without the hours and the time and the listening and that he does every single day. I'm just very appreciative to work with him.
He's such a pleasure to work with.
You're lucky. Very, very lucky.
Yeah.
All right, great. Well, thank you guys so much for coming and presenting. We knew the award was out there, but to have you guys come and share Mr. Benson's words and your own is really, really special, and we appreciate it.
And if he were here, he would say better every time.
Yes. Very true. All right. Great. Well, thank you, and good luck with everything.
Thank you so much.
Great. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right. So next up, business. Okay. Starting off with all such good stuff. All right. So we are voting to approve the Lucini bus contract. Dr. Cabral.
Director of Operations, Mr. Twombly, is here to discuss the next two contracts. I do have a little bit of information to add about the bus contract once he's finished, but I'll let him present his information first. Mr. Twombly?
All right, so I'll probably make you cry, but in a different way. Anyways, with that
was a good one.
That was a good one, huh?
Yeah.
So anyways, so just to kind of go over the transportation contract. So this has been a ongoing process. We went out to bid back in October. Bids were due probably the end of November. We've been negotiating back and forth with the bus company on the rates. We followed the Chapter 30B requirements, such as advertising. We also sent the bid out to several vendors, transportation companies. Unfortunately, we only got one bid. There was probably, I think it was like 3 or 4 vendors that attended the pre-bid conference. But again, unfortunately, only one company responded, which was Mr. Lucini. But we have had a long relationship with the bus company. Sometimes we have a good, sometimes things go smoothly, sometimes there's issues, but that's just kind of the nature of the beast. But anyways, the original bid amount was $575 per bus per day. We're able to negotiate that rate down to $530 per bus per day. So the difference on the first year between the original bid and the new bid is $137,700 in savings. So by negotiating the bid down, we were able to save $137,700 on the first year.
Actually, I'm sorry, Mr. Twombly, I certainly don't want to correct you, but I think it's an important point. You're talking about the last negotiation, but if we go by the first proposal from the bus company, it was a savings in the first year of $174,700.
Yep. Okay.
In the second year, a savings of $220,600 in additional savings. And in the third year, an additional savings of $297,100. So from the first proposal to the last proposal, it was a savings of $692,400. Now, with that said, it's an increase of what we're currently paying by $816,600. So it was a $1.5 million increase, which we were, of course, very concerned about with this year's budget. Even though the budget passed, it passed with us not really knowing how we would get to 1.5 million. But fortunately, through a lot of cooperation and hard work, Jen Starr, David, we worked with the company and were able to almost reduce that by 50%. So it was a long negotiation. We did get to the wire, but fortunately we got to something that we can manage for next year. I'm sorry to interrupt you, David, but
no, that's okay.
I went back to the first because there were several iterations of the
different iterations of this thing. Correct.
Yeah. So I just wanted to capture all of it because it was a tremendous amount of work, and David, you were working on that the whole time. So I do want to note while it's a large increase that we didn't anticipate, it could have been a lot worse.
And I'll just go over a couple of other small points about the contract. So for the first year, the mileage rate per mile for athletics and special events, that's only going up 50 cents per mile. So it would be $5.50 per mile. And then the wait time that we have is staying the same. So he's not going up on the wait time. And the one thing that, and Dr. Cabral, this was her idea, so I have to give her the girl on this one, and that is the drop and pick. We have a new thing that we're trying out. The athletic department has used it in the past periodically, depending on the event, but we're going to implement a drop and pick. So if there's an event in town, if they're at the NRT or they're going over to ECAT to do some work, the students, then instead of having the bus wait there for 5 hours, it's in town, they'll just drop the students off, go back to the bus depot, and then that way we save 3 or 4 hours of idle time. So that was something that's new to the contract, and that was an idea that Dr. Cabral had come up with. So, and I think that hopefully we can implement that and save, it's kind of saving here and there. So I think over the life of the contract, we'll probably save several $1,000s just by implementing that. And with that, I will take questions, I guess.
Any questions, Nancy?
Does this contract include the little buses?
The vans for the special education?
No,
that's a separate contract. Special education, it's under it's actually exempt from Chapter 30B, meaning that we don't have to go out to bid for that. So that's a separate contract. You can put it into your regular contract and go out to bid for it, but we've always kept it separate. It's a little bit cleaner to do it that way. But yeah, that's separate.
Thank you.
And when he says cleaner, excuse me, you don't want to exclude opportunities for multiple and competitive bids. And not every vendor that has the large buses that we use for the majority of students has the capacity to have the smaller vans for in-district special education transportation. So it gives us the opportunity to put out a wider net. It didn't really prove fruitful this time around for a lot of different reasons, but we can still negotiate the vans contract for special education, and we can do that separately.
Yeah, one of the things I also did after we received the bid, I reached out to several of the companies that we had sent the bid out to. We took it upon ourselves. We looked up the different transportation contractors that are in Massachusetts. We emailed the bid out to them, even though they didn't ask for it. And then after we got the bids, I called like 2 or 3 of them, maybe 4. And basically it was the same thing. They basically don't have enough drivers. The bus companies don't have enough drivers. They don't have enough equipment. They can't get buses. There's like a year wait when you order buses. And so what they're doing is they're kind of consolidating. So if they have 5 or 6 or 10 contracts, they're just concentrating on those contracts. They want to do a good job on the contracts they have. They're not looking to expand their contracts. And the other thing that I found out, when a bus driver has to get licensed, they have to get a CDL license. It's not just like a regular driving license, a CDL license, which is pretty intense. And so it's really difficult to get drivers to pass that test. And in fact, some of them have to go out as far as like Springfield to take that test. So you may live in Easton, you want to be an Easton bus driver, but to go take that test, you have to drive all the way out to Springfield and do and take the exam. It's actually a driving exam. So it's pretty intense. But anyways, those were some of the, and it's not just Easton. I think it's across Massachusetts. There's some issues as far as bids. There's issue as far as the number of drivers. I mean, I just think it's some of it's the ramifications of COVID. You've seen it at the grocery store. Just going to try to buy equipment or whatever. You have to wait 5, 6 months sometimes, or 18 months, depending on what you're trying to purchase. So it's been kind of trying, but we'll make it through it.
So when you talk about they have 9 or 10 contracts, are they contracted with the Southeast Regional School, Lucini?
Yeah, Lucini, yep, they do have the contract with them. And they actually, we've used that to our advantage whenever they have a bus driver who is absent, or if we need additional help, they'll pull drivers from Southeastern Regional over to Easton, especially where they're in the same town. So we have tried to use that to kind of fill some gaps. But when I talk about other contracts, I'm talking about like other bus companies. They have maybe 5 contracts or 9 contracts in the state of Massachusetts. So instead of expanding and coming into Easton, they're like, hey, we want to just keep the 5 or 9 or whatever contracts, do a good job, because we can't get drivers and we can't get equipment. We can't get buses. It's a long wait to get the buses. So they just don't want to expand their footprint right now.
Yeah, I have one more question. Sure. So when groups go on field trips, it seems like the major cost of going on a field trip is the bus. I wonder if at some point there'd be a way to, just say, okay, this is a field trip. Can we, Mr. Lucini, can we just do half price for the bus or whatever?
So we did do that.
Yep, go ahead, Alicia, you want to answer?
Sorry. We did do that. So we have a flat rate of $200 for anything in the town of Easton, and that's it. No mileage, no wait time. If it's outside the town of Easton, it is the drop pick that Mr. Twombly described. So if it's $110 to go there and back, we get charged $100 wait time. We would rather pay $110 twice for $220 and not have to pay a 5-hour wait time, which would be $500. Okay.
But but you've got the field trips that are going, to Rhode Island or to, wherever they're going, Sturbridge, whatever. And I know that the local history class took a field trip this year, and I think the bus cost was like $800. They were going to multiple places, but
it's $200 now.
Yeah, that was what we negotiated. So that's actually that's a great question, and that's definitely an area where the drop and pick will help out.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that information.
Any other questions, comments from the school committee? So I'll just add, thank you, Mr. Twombly, for providing all of that background information on sort of the current state. Just for anybody watching, you know that it is a statewide issue. Our colleagues in other school districts are also only getting one bid when they're going out to bid for their contracts. It's something that the Mass Association of School Committees has raised as a legislative priority, to ask our legislative delegation to look into what they can be doing at the state level, perhaps with looking at things like training, as Mr. Twombly suggested, or just doing something at the state level, because it's an enormous expense, and to have a field that is so expensive without the opportunity for any competition just doesn't serve anybody well. And it's certainly a struggle for the transportation companies as well, to be trying to get the drivers that they need and the equipment that they need so that they can provide the services that they want to, and to do it at a reasonable rate. So it is something that, again, is not just an Easton problem. Our legislative delegation is aware of it. We've spoken to them, Dr. Cabral has addressed it with them. And, we addressed it with ours at the Day on the Hill. They were very aware of and receptive to hearing more and getting some ideas around what they can do to help advocate for any help that the state can provide in helping solve this problem. So hopefully we'll get some continued work there, and next round of contracting might be a little bit easier. So, and thank you, Dr. Cabral and Mr. Twombly. I know sitting in those meetings there, it's a lot of info, and it's tough, and you went back to the table again and again and again on behalf of EPS and on behalf of our taxpayers, right? And with negotiating prices that we can reasonably support through our budget. So really appreciate all your work there.
Thank you.
Okay. So if there are no other questions or comments, would somebody like to make a motion to accept the contract with Lucini Bus Lines for the next 3 years?
So moved, DeLuca.
And a second?
Durant, second.
Roll call vote?
Durant, yes.
DeLuca, yes.
Star, yes.
Loomis, yes.
Great. See, without Jackie here to prompt me, I'm
Oh,
out of order,
I was trying to figure that out.
out of sorts. Yep. Okay, great. And then so the next item on the agenda is the Old Colony YMCA lease agreement for Blanche Ames Elementary.
Yeah. So this is yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Alicia. You want to go? Go ahead.
No, I'm just going to introduce it. I will say that this is super exciting. This has been a dream for a long time. To see that this is actually here is very fulfilling for all of us. We are offering, for the first time ever, daycare for Easton employees, not just of the school system, but police, fire, DPW, all of our departments. And it's been wildly popular. And we are able to now offer a working lab, if you will, for our childcare students at Oliver Ames, who can go in and work alongside the YMCA trained employees who are going to be running this fabulous program. So this is actually the contract for the agreement between the YMCA and Blanche Ames to be used as a daycare. Mr. Twombly?
Yeah, so Alicia pretty much summarized it pretty well. This is not a 30B type of contract because there's no dollar value exchanged, but we work with our counsel, our attorney, and he recommended that we create a lease, and that's why we brought it here to kind of codify the agreement. So it's really just, I don't want to say it's a formality, but basically it's a lease, and it's for the daycare. And it's really, again, just to kind of codify the agreement between the school department and the YMCA.
And just to refresh your memory, we are offering the space free of charge to the YMCA. In return, they've made very creative changes for the benefit of our staff. We have, I mentioned town employees, we have school employees who work 42 weeks a year who have very varying hours. Childcare, traditionally, you have to reserve a spot year round. So they offered a 42-week option and a 52-week option. We also have staff in town that work 24-hour shifts that have rotating schedules. For example, police and fire departments, they worked with us on that. So this is really a tremendous opportunity for people that work really unusual schedules, if you will. And it's a great benefit to the town of Easton. It's a benefit for the YMCA. It's a benefit for our parents, and it's a benefit for these children, many of whom will be going to Blanche James because the families are residents of Easton, and they'll be able to continue at Blanche James. So it was completely cost neutral project for the Easton Public Schools. Will be tuition run. The parents will pay tuition, and they're paying the YMCA rates. So we're really excited for a lot of reasons to have this opportunity for our employees, but also for all of our Ames students. As I said, it's going to make our childcare programs so much more robust.
Any questions? Lauren?
Dr. Cabral, you had just mentioned about the police and fire and 24-hour shifts. So it's open 24 hours?
No, it's not, but it has extended hours. And so they'll work 24 hours on, and then they'll have 24 hours off, and then 24 hours on again, and then a certain number of days off. It's the days that the YMCA is willing to work with them on, instead of reserved 5 days a week like a typical childcare program. But no, it's not 24 hours. That's a great question. But they have rotating schedules because they work 24 hours, and it's very hard.
That I understand.
Yeah, it's really hard to find, you know, for good reason. Childcare providers, I mean, there's a good reason they have you do that, but the YMCA, this is advantageous for them because they don't have to pay rent, so it works out well.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Thank you for asking that, Lauren. That got my attention too. I'm like, what? I don't remember that memo. Dr. Cabral, can you remind me, I know that tuition is paid to the Y. How are we offsetting expenses like electricity and stuff?
So that's a good question. They're going to be using 2 rooms in the building. As far as any cost to us, really, it's only the lights in the classroom. We would rather make use of the rooms. One of them is actually a community room, and so it's made for community use. And the other one is a classroom that's not being used right now. Obviously, if we get to a point where we need the classroom, we'll have to come up with other accommodations, perhaps a different school. But all the other indirect costs, heating and everything else within the building, that is the same whether there are people in that room or not. So we'd rather have the room actually used. It's just the electricity, and not only is the use of the electricity in those 2 rooms negligible because of our really great system, but as you know, we're also going to be putting solar on the roof, and so the solar is going to be tied right into the grid. And so we actually expect, hopefully, we don't know until it happens, but we actually expect a surplus from I'm sorry, it's not in the grid, it's actually in the building, unlike the other 2 schools which are in the grid. And so the solar on the building is actually going to be for the electricity in the building, and we're anticipating hopefully a surplus that will then go into the grid. So the cost really is negligible for us.
Thank you.
So I have some very detailed questions. So Mr. Twombly, do you have the agreement in front of you?
Yep, I have it right here. Yep.
Okay, so so I first noticed that the term under item 3 gives the 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. etc. I don't see an actual lease term anywhere in here, like that it's for a year or 2 years or 3 years or whatever. And then looking under the termination clauses, I see, so at the bottom of page 5 onto page 6, we have the with cause for breach, emergency. So the surrender of premises. So it references section, so in the event this license is terminated in accordance with any of the provisions of this section 17, section 17 does not refer to provisions of termination. And then it reads, this license shall come to an end as fully and completely as if the term had expired on the date set forth in section 6. So section 6 does not have a termination date. So I wonder if it was just language that might have been carried over from a similar document, and if we can get those references updated to reflect accurately the right clauses within the document.
Yeah, I'll have to check with Ben Taylor. He's the town council that worked on this thing.
Okay.
So I'd have to check with him, but we had meetings with the YMCA to go over some of the details. So I would have to check with him to find out some of those answers.
Okay. Alrighty. So I think everything else in here seemed reasonable. And again, that was really the only piece of information that I couldn't find was, is this intent to be evergreen, until terminated, or do we have a certain time period in mind at which point we would then renew the term? So I guess there's that, and then cleaning up that paragraph on page 6 around the surrender of premises.
The intention is that this is annual.
Okay.
If we do need to move to a different school, we actually need a different agreement, not only because the lease would be for a different building, but also because the documentation that has to be submitted to the YMCA is extremely detailed, and it's very specific to not just the building, but the exact spaces that they use. So this is annual, and it should be noted as such.
Okay. Is there, what's the time sensitivity then around getting this approved and signed? Do we want to revote on it at the next meeting in a couple of weeks with those revisions, or does it need to be done sooner than that?
I think that's reasonable. I don't know if they expressed anything different to you, Mr. Twombly.
No, I think it's not starting till September, so I think we have a little bit of time. So.
Okay. All right, great. Yes, I think if we could just table the vote on this until we get the revised documents that address those 2 points. Okay. Okay, great. So then I will make a motion then to table the vote on this, on the YMCA lease agreement until we have the revised agreement as discussed. Can I get a second?
Durant, second.
And roll call vote?
Durant, yes.
Luca, yes.
Star, yes.
Loomis, yes.
All right. Great. Thank you, Mr. Twombly.
All right, I'll see you at the end of the month. All right.
All right.
Take care.
Have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Have a good week. Bye.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so next up on the agenda, we have the school improvement plan for Oliver Ames High School. And
Mrs. Kavanaugh, for your patience, we do appreciate that. So Mrs. Kavanaugh is here to present the Oliver Ames High School school improvement plan for 2023, 2024. My gosh, I got to get used to saying that. Wow, 2023 to 2024. Mrs. Kavanaugh.
Sorry, there we go. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. I'm going to share my screen and share with you the school improvement plan that we're recommending to you for a vote. So let me make sure I have this right. Put this in the right mode. Sorry, hold on 1 second. I don't know why it's not letting me put it in presentation mode. Thank you for your patience. Okay. Your phone. All right. So first of all, I'd love to thank the OAHS School Council. It's an amazing group this year of some really, really thoughtful and insightful students and parents who have worked really hard this year to give us feedback on what we can do as a school to improve, but then also, accolades, what's going well within the school. And we worked really hard to look at the data and look at the both anecdotal and qualitative data to determine what the best things are for us to work on moving forward. So I'm going to go through the 3 goals we have set for you right now. So the first goal is around looking at our schedule to increase the percentage of students who can receive academic interventions and support within our school day. Similar to what Mr. Carroll had said earlier, we have stagnant MCAS scores, and we are looking really closely to find time within our school day to provide students with academic interventions that doesn't interrupt the extracurricular activities that they do, that they are such a huge part of who they are as a student, as well as the outside commitments they have to their family and a job. So right now in our schedule, the way our schedule works, students are fully booked all day long in academic core classes, and they're only 5% of the students within our population can actually receive academic support without being pulled out of other classes to receive it. So we have a scheduling committee that's going to work on looking at how we can increase what we call tier 2 interventions. So tier 1 interventions can be done within the context of the classroom. Tier 2 is when someone needs more direct instruction from a highly qualified person in that area in order to make gains to be able to access the curriculum at grade level. So the goal of that is to identify first the priorities for a new schedule based on the feedback from we've done student and faculty surveys, and then we went through our schedule audit this year with New Solutions K-12 that gave us incredibly great feedback. And then so many other school districts are doing this now. In my principal group, there's a group of many of us who are switching from a schedule that is fully booked to a way to provide students with what I need blocks built into it. And many schools have been doing this for years. So we're going to review other high schools with similar priorities to us. We're going to identify what these tier 2 interventions would look like at the high school level in order to give targeted support to those students, and then design and implement a schedule for the start of the 24-25 school year. That will include either courses or time built into the schedule for these tier 2 interventions. And on the flip side of it, it also can give time for enrichment activities and for students who, it's hard sometimes when you have students who are also really high achieving in classes, and some additional activities that would extend their learning and really target those higher level thinking skills, those like problem solving skills. When you have a mixed group of students in your class, it can be difficult. So doing this at that time as well would be really beneficial. Then the 2-year part of this goal is that we're going to do a survey at the beginning, at the end of the 24-25 school year to see how the implementation of this new schedule went, and also look at the data to determine what percentage of students were able to access interventions and the impact those interventions had on their academic success and their feeling of belonging in school and feeling confident in themselves as a learner. The second goal for OA is, is to improve students' sense of belonging as measured by pre and post survey data, towards working towards a more equitable learning environment and increasing the opportunity for students to engage in workshops and conversations around inclusivity. The data for this goal was really gathered from anecdotal data from our DEI Advisory Council, the parents and the students, surveys that were done within those councils, and looking at the experience, the learning, the experience of students of different populations within our school, and noting the stories and the impact that that being in a school that is 79% white can have on students who aren't. And so the goal for this is to really, and this again comes from a lot of student and parent and faculty feedback, is first to continue those DEI advisory groups. So they are incredibly helpful to me as a principal and to the school in general, by providing us with different perspectives and stories and ideas that we can work on as a school. The Student DEI Council has a list of goals for the 2024 school year for us to review, which are some of these are included in here. And a lot of it is just about having conversations. That's what you're going to see in here. So we want to bring in a guest speaker to present on the topic of diversity, equity, and inclusion. There's a group of students that are going to run student-led workshops on different cultures and identities with a focus of breaking down stereotypes. Their goal to start is to look at certain cultures such as BIPOC, Hispanic, Latino, students with disabilities, LGBTQ+, and just make sure that we don't lump all students who maybe identify in that category as being from the same culture. How can we help people understand the different cultures that represent the beautiful makeup of our school? We want to continue to work on diversifying our teaching staff through going through job fairs and outreach, whether that's through colleges and having student teachers come in from diverse backgrounds, and working with our HR director, Melissa Medeiros, to continue those efforts. And then also provide faculty and staff with opportunities for professional development on culturally responsive teaching practices. And that's already been started through a lot of the work that Christy is doing with outside agencies who can come in and provide training. We've already offered training to to all of our assistant principals and our counseling staff. And then we're going to expand that beyond. Another piece of that will also, though, be student panels and allowing our faculty and staff from students about their experiences and what their hopes and dreams are for making OA an even more inclusive place. Okay, and our third goal is to continue our work in our postgraduate planning, our college and career exploration for students. So currently, students have one class assembly per year with the school counseling department that addresses career and interest surveys and gets them prepared. It depends on which grade level you're in, for looking at what courses you're taking, how they are related to your interests potentially post-graduation. And then they have one-to-one scheduled meetings with their counselor each year to review what they've done in those assemblies. And then also, it depends on the year, but they look at different postgraduate planning options. So essentially, students get two opportunities. We want to increase that and give them more of a curriculum around the college and career planning. And then the second piece of it is our 21st century academics and social learning expectations that was created back in 2010 does require updating, not only because we want to make sure that we're clearly articulating our current vision of a graduate, but also it's a part of our accreditation process. And so both hands are at work there, but ultimately we want to create a really simple list of skill sets and assets that we want our students to have when they graduate. So the three action areas under this is, so this year, I'm very fortunate to have a physics teacher, Mr. Matt Turgeon, who's very passionate about the vision of the graduate, and he has been running focus groups and surveys with faculty, looking at the foundational transfer goals and getting a feeling from faculty as to what are their goals for our students outside of academics. What do they want them to be able to do when they graduate? So we have all of that data that we're compiling, and we're going to use that and bring it to families and students next year for their feedback, and then create this visual of the vision of the graduate that will align with our foundational transfer goals that we already have as a district. And then next, we want to continue our partnerships with our college and universities to offer opportunities for OA students to earn college credit in high school. Mr. Daniel Fitzgerald has done an amazing job as the coordinator of this programming for the past year, and I'm really excited to share that our English teacher, Jen Tantilla, will be taking over next year and already has started a lot of the work needed to prepare for next year. She has sent out the summer course programming that we have available for students with over 5 colleges that are offering opportunities for students to earn college credit over the summer. And she has also worked really hard on sharing the information about the Stonehill Photonics program. We actually do have one student who enrolled in it this year, so we're excited for that. So we'll just continue that work. The last piece of that work actually that I do want to mention to you is that we have several teachers who are looking at working with Merrimack College to become Middlesex Community College to become adjunct professors and be able to offer our students college credit for the courses that we currently teach at OA. So they wouldn't need to leave the district in order to take these courses, which I'm very excited about. And then the last is we have had a group of faculty, that's Miss Carney, Mr. Fitzgerald, Miss Sweeney, and Miss Donahue, who have gone through the MyCap training with DESE. MyCap is a program where it supports your district in developing a curriculum and a timeline and a plan for rolling out career and interest curriculum to students. And it's scheduled and part of, they build themselves a portfolio over the course of the 4 years that really does a deep dive into what their areas of interest are, how that informs what clubs they join, what courses they take, and how they can use high school as a way to explore different things that they want to study outside of school. It's very much a self-assessment and self-reflection on their goals as a learner. And so they've been through that training this year. Next year, we're going to actually put that curriculum and timeline in place that will coincide with the new schedule, and students in the 2024-25 school year will start that curriculum and start building that portfolio of work. And just really have that time and that space to think about what their career interest surveys actually mean, and how that informs their course enrollment in their time here at OA, and things that they do even outside of school. Okay, that is my whole presentation. I'd love to open it up for any questions or comments that you have.
Questions or comments from committee members? Let's see. Go ahead, Lauren.
Thank you, Mrs. Kavanaugh. I just had a question on goal number 2.
Yep.
The third point, you're going to have a student student-led series of workshops.
Yeah. Yep.
So how will those students be trained?
Yeah. So we've sent this group of students to 2 different diversity summits in the past year and a half. And there is a group of teachers that are in charge of overseeing the ADL, who have volunteered to support them in designing their presentations. These students have also done some workshops in the past year that are open, voluntary, open to students during our Tiger Blocks around other important issues. One of them did something on LGBTQ rights and what's happening in our country right now to inform students. So we have an amazing group of staff that are going to work with the students to develop the presentations.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great, thanks, Lauren. Any other questions or comments? Seeing any so far. So I love the clarity around the presentation, and just how nicely everything ties back to the strategic plan. And I really appreciate the presentation of this with the data sources and the action steps. I did have one thought as you were going through goal number 3. And again, this might be a more also a broader question, maybe also for Dr. Cabral or Mrs. Pruitt. Have we ever tried to, or do you think we would have the ability to try to survey past grads to see what, once kind of the rubber hits the road, right, and they're off in college or in their career training programs or whatever, feedback on how well prepared they felt for whatever path they chose, and then maybe any feedback on, what was maybe more difficult or easier, like where did they feel that they were succeeding and where did they feel like completely unprepared. So just a thought that popped into my head.
No, I appreciate that. I actually did that in my first few months as principal last year. I sent a survey out to the emails that I had of the last 3. So we started collecting personal email addresses about 3 years ago. It's not everybody. Not everybody's email address works, or not all of them provided one. Now we're much more consistent. I actually just sent an email out to last year's graduating class to congratulate them on their first year out of high school, and I had the majority of the class's personal email addresses. I love this idea, Ms. Starr, and it's one of the things I've been talking to the school counseling department about. It's going to be really important as part of that visual and graduate work that we're doing moving forward is that we look at those skill sets and we assess where students are when they enter high school, where they leave high school, and then how they felt that those skills and assets that we held so true as part of our curriculum and as part of our daily practice and instructional practices met their needs outside of college. So I'm really excited about the fact that part of the exit ticket for graduation is to provide your personal email address starting this year, so that we're going to be able to have those email addresses and survey them. Do you want to add any more, Dr. Cabral?
Well, only that we have been using Naviance now, and we're at a point where we can start expanding the use of that. There is an alumni capacity for that. And I have talked to Ms. Mancuso and Ms. Kavanaugh about utilizing that. It's all, obviously it's optional and voluntary for students to respond, but any feedback we get is going to be useful feedback. So we did talk about making use of Naviance in that way.
Yep. Yeah, and I think especially, oh, go ahead, Chrissy.
No, I was just going to say that, you know, in our work with New Solutions K-12, one of the things that they helped us really think about was defining success, not by when they graduate, but what they're doing after graduation. And when you said that, I had a huge smile on my face because I thought to myself, you should have been in that room when we were having that conversation. It's like you just regurgitated what we discussed. So it was really, it absolutely is something that we're considering for sure. That needs to be looked at.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And I just think we're in a real, I hate to use the unprecedented word, but I feel like the data set on recent grads probably looks very different. And it would be interesting, you know, if we could see kind of trending over time, just because, you know, as you all know, I do have a recent grad, and, you know, plural of anecdote is not data, but I'm definitely hearing a lot more about changes in plans, or students who, you know, weren't able to complete their first year of school, and it's certainly no reflection on OA or their experience, but just sort of what's going on in the world, and, you know, maybe coming out of COVID and some of the stress and disruption of that maybe manifesting now. It's a very disruptive time for students in this age group, so it'll be interesting to see kind of how that data, you know, globally, and then however much of that we can capture down to the OA level will be interesting to see over time.
Just a trend in gap year that we've seen really hike with COVID. It would be interesting to see that if students did take a gap year, how could we even be helpful to graduates in terms of resources, even provided on our new website, where they could get information about matriculating back into a program, or finding information about where to go if you're not in high school and you're not graduating and have the benefit of a guidance counselor turning in information for you. You know, how do you get back into that? So these are all kind of new things for us, because gap years were not very popular prior to COVID. And so we're looking, you know, at ways we can get information and provide resources there too.
That's great. And especially where, you know, there are so many new initiatives statewide, right, where we're seeing these really great programs of, okay, you know, maybe you're between the ages of 18 and whatever, and you want to train to become this, and there are free programs being offered locally. So to be able to, you know, it's great that we're aware of them, but as you said, you know, right, to have that be a public source for our kids who are out of the system, but to have, you know, be able to get a clearinghouse of kind of trusted information from a source like us.
Yeah, we're finding in our work with the college pathways and early college that there are some programs like the photonics program that not only provides opportunities for students in high school, but for graduates, or for mass hires that's paying for specific training programs for kids. So we are learning about some of these resources and can have certainly a repository for them that they can access even after they graduate.
Great. Okay. All right. Does anybody else have any questions or comments before we move this to a vote? Okay. So I'll make a motion to approve the school improvement plan for Oliver Ames High School. Somebody second?
DeLuca, second.
And roll call vote?
Durant, yes.
DeLuca, yes.
Star, yes.
Loomis, yes.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Yeah, have a wonderful evening, everybody.
You as well.
Thank you. All right. Next up on the agenda is the superintendent's evaluation. Dr. Cabral?
Thank you. Well, here we are again. This process is different than anyone else in a district, as it should be. Well, for one, it's done publicly, but also there are there are some components that not necessarily required by the Department of Education, but I add to try to give you some background information about the goals and the benchmarks and action steps that have been achieved, as well as the evidence for them. So I gave you a couple of different documents for that reason. One is the DESE template is populated from the appendix that I provided that has key benchmarks and action steps, but then the sample evidence with embedded links. But then I took the opportunity, and I did realize it was getting a bit long, so I stopped adding evidence. It's supposed to be sample evidence, and I got a little carried away, but feel free to just pop in and out of different things. You don't obviously have to read everything, but I thought there were different things that might be of interest to different people. And so it would give you an opportunity to see sort of a smorgasbord of different things that we're working on PK to 12. At any rate, after the introduction, you have the first goal. And then I really believe that products are just that, and you'll see that things are done. But I wanted to give you an indication of how we are seeing, observing, and interpreting the data to show measures of success. And so I added those to your narrative as well. Each of the key actions it says key actions, and then under it, I sort of compartmentalized it into different categories just to be a little more user-friendly, and just replicated that for all 4 of the goals on the narrative sheet. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. And then in terms of timeline, just for the public, this is for you to ask clarifying questions or ask if something's missing you want it added or anything you want changed. And then on June 22nd will be your opportunity to discuss it in full, as well as all of the categories on the template, which you need to vote on an actual rating in each category and then an overall rating. And then those get submitted to DESE, and they are public information also. Excuse me.
So does anybody, or wait for Dr. Cabral, are you ready for questions, comments?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Great. So does any committee members have any questions or comments for Dr. Cabral on the info that's been shared or the process? Go ahead,
Jen,
Nancy.
so we have 2, well, I would call them 2 templates. We have the end of cycle, and I've done this before, I just don't remember, summative evaluation report. Do we each fill that out individually and send it to you, or do we do the performance goals, send that to you with our comments? Okay, well, whatever.
So Michelle, I give tons of credit for it, and thank you for doing this. So Michelle helped to organize the materials into the folder. So I know she set up a template for each committee member to complete, and that was, I think you copied in the goals and the action steps. Is that right, Michelle?
Yes,
Okay.
everything.
It has your name on it. Yep.
It has your name on it. It's editable, so you can type right into the document.
Okay.
Would you rather have a hard copy, Nancy, or?
Oh, no, I'm fine.
Okay.
I can do this, believe it or not. Yes.
No, I believe it. I just,
well, sometimes it's hard
me.
for me to believe that I can do it. So yes,
I'll
figure it out.
What I have to do, it's easier to copy and paste.
Yeah.
Thing.
And I do remember doing this a few years ago, and I was the one in charge of sending everything to all you guys. So yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't do as much of a narrative then, but to Michelle's point, I thought it might be helpful if you want. I see that it's quite cumbersome for all of you, and certainly for the compiler, who is the chair, and now Nancy and Michelle and now Jen have done this in these cycles. Excuse me. So I provided narrative that obviously you can manipulate to hopefully, if you're making reference to anything, it'll be a little easier for you.
So for the committee members, just to reiterate, my request to you is to have your forms filled out as soon as you can, but by no later than next Friday, the 16th. That will give me the weekend to compile everything into the school committee's evaluation. My commitment is to get that out to you all by Sunday night, the 18th. And then you can, if you have any comments or edits, to get them back to me Monday or Tuesday, and then Lynn will post in our folder for the meeting on the 22nd.
So Nancy, if you're not in the shared drive, the one that has your name on it, excuse me, that's the one that says the performance goals at the top.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I am. I saw it.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm good.
Great.
The end of cycle one, I also put the number of each goal that corresponds with each category. So standard 1, instructional leadership, is goal number 1, for example. If hopefully that helps you navigate the different goals.
All right. And as I was, Lauren and I met last night briefly to sort of go over the process, and I was again reminded of the enormous amount of work, Dr. Cabral, that you put into this process. And I know that Lynn helps out with making sure that we have links to evidence behind the scenes, but we're so appreciative of just the enormity of, one, your job. Seeing it all come together is always just, really wow. And then, the work that you put in and the detail that you put in to this evaluation process is really appreciated. And again, Michelle, I can't thank you enough for having organized a workable process a couple of years ago, and helping out with getting us organized this year. So I think it will go, knocking on wood, smoothly. So thank you all for making this. It's kind of a big, messy task, but working together, we'll get it done.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I just opened the drive and saw that they had that all the individual documents with everybody's name is on that. So that's incredibly helpful, Michelle, for your colleagues. That was really nice of you to do that. And
I
Lynn,
find that fun, which is a little weird, I know.
Oh, okay. Listen, I got a lot more fun things for you to do if you like that.
It's the robotics.
Just come over anytime. And Lynn, just so extraordinarily helpful to me, even pulling some of the documents, because this is, over an extended amount of time. So pulling documents, pulling minutes from meetings as evidence, and then helping me with the links. Very much appreciated.
Great. All right. Does anybody else have any other questions or comments before we move on? All right. Great. Well, looking forward to revisiting the topic in a couple of weeks. Public comment. I am not seeing any. Okay.
Nothing, Jack, nothing?
Okay.
You
All
were,
right. So
you were, listen, you were gonna get a comment from a couple people. Can the teachers get their in check earlier than next Wednesday?
Their what?
Their last check earlier than next Wednesday.
Oh, lump sum check?
Yes.
No, that's contractual.
Alicia, it's only a joke. I was just, I think there was some wine going around today, so.
Oh.
Nancy, our district doesn't get one until the end of June.
I've been there, done that. Yes, yeah. And the years that you have to wait that extra week, you can't. Whatever. Never mind. Okay, continue on.
Okay. All right. So next on the agenda is superintendent notes. Dr. Cabral.
Thanks. Just a couple of things. I'm sure someone's going to bring up the retirement event this evening, so I won't go too much into it, but it's always great to see not only not only the retirees, because some do retire mid-year or they start the year and then so we don't see them for a few months, but even the retirees that come back year after year, like Nancy, that come back year after year, and it's so nice to see them. And I can't even believe I've been here long enough to have seen people who retired 10 years ago. And so it's really great. And I know people like Nancy, it's just great seeing them see one another for 30 years back. So it's really always just a great event. We are thick into the hiring season right now. So, excuse me, the HR director is of course going crazy. Our fiscal year is ending, so the business department is going crazy. And we are doing multiple interviews every day. Just vetting the applicants is enormous. The principals are going crazy, going through all of them. We have upwards almost 100 applicants for certain positions, and to just go through every single one to make sure you're getting the very best person to be in front of our children. It is a tremendous task, and some principals are having to hire 7, 8, 9 people because of retirements, and so they're really doing a tremendous job right now. And I know that people are kind of winding down, but for the administrative team and for all the people that work behind the scenes, we're really ramping up right now. And so I just want to shout out to them for really keeping it together, and the seriousness of purpose that they have when they engage in this, because I always tell them the most important thing they can do is conduct interviews in who they hire in a very meaningful way, because again, these people work very independently, and we want to make sure that, and we have a tremendous culture, like you saw even at events like tonight. We want to make sure that we maintain that for our kids and for each other. So a lot going on behind the scenes. We had our second diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility community meeting yesterday. That went very well. We got a bunch of participants, and I'm very grateful for everybody who came and gave us just fantastic feedback, very honest. I'm humbled by the amount of trust that people show to share and to give us honest feedback. And so we hope to keep earning that trust and getting better in our work. I want to thank, thank RMK for being the co-host of that meeting. We really were trying to tap into certain group that we don't have a lot of support groups for our families that are raising multicultural kids. And so to have RMK reach out their network, to have people attend, it was really helpful. We have promoted, if you will, one of our current technology staff members from a systems technician to systems administrator. So I had spoken before about with the loss of our IT director, how we were sort of parceling out those duties. The infrastructure, the networking, the firewalls, all of that behind the scenes technology. It was very important to us that we were able to get someone to regulate and monitor that really immediately. We're super fortunate that we have an internal person, Ethan Coffey, who is going to continue with tech duties, but he's also going to be our systems administrator. So we had posted that internally to see if we had internal capacity before moving out. And we were fortunate that Ethan was interested. We had a couple of great conversations, and I met with the entire technology team a couple of times. And, you know, he had the good fortune of working with John Souza for 9 years now or 8 years now, and was really prepared to take that on. So he's doing that. That's a great relief. And I wanted to remind you that next week I will be working. I will be attending meetings in the evening virtually, but I will be attending the conference Preventing Harm by Promoting Health. The Easton Wings of Hope again invited and is sponsoring me to attend this workshop with them. I'm excited to be joined by Lisa St. Mary from the high school, and looking forward to a lot of really good conversations about how we can bring a sense of wellness back to the district, particularly at the high school level, but really across the board, really trying to find multi-pronged ways to support our students and their families with social, emotional, and mental health issues. So I'm really looking forward to reporting back to you about how that goes. And I will be doing my evening meetings. I'm sorry, not next week, the week after, the week of the 19th. I'll be doing my evening meetings from that conference. And I look forward to telling you about it. And that's all I have tonight.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any questions or comments for Dr. Cabral? All right, so we'll move on to Assistant Superintendent notes. Mrs. Pruitt.
Thank you. This time of year, it's always a wonderful, we attend so many wonderful events, you know, between graduations and projects that students share with us. It's just been a really fun 2 weeks since the last time that we've been together. I do want to highlight a couple things. First of all, today, I was able to see the civics projects in grade 8, and a big shout out to our 8th grade teachers who really work hard with our students on their civics projects. We have some really, we have some amazing kids that are really going to make a difference in our world, and I was just really proud to see so many of the wonderful projects that they've been working on. I also just wanted to let you know that last week we had our very first district-wide professional development for our new literacy program, Wit and Wisdom. So over 3 days, all teachers in kindergarten through grade 7, including learning specialists, our special ed teachers, were trained under the launch professional development on how to navigate the actual curriculum, the program, and what to focus on. We had a fantastic facilitator who, this was her first time up in Massachusetts from Louisiana, and she just loved us. We all want to take a field trip to see her classroom in action down in Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. But it was a great experience. I cannot commend our teachers enough for how engaged they were, how the wonderful questions that they asked, and the excitement that they are, you know, really showing in this new journey that we're going to be going through. There's a lot of angst and worry, but I hope that they know that they are supported, and that we will do whatever we can to ensure that this is a smooth transition for them. And there will be more professional development for them. The October PD date, the October professional development date, they will have a full day of professional development. And then we're working on some additional dates as well. So besides that, I mean, that's like our huge focus right now. I also want to let you know, update you on the Director of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, Accessibility search. So I did send an email to all of you on the school committee. So I'm hoping that somebody will be able to be on that committee with us. I and the families, staff, students, I've sent emails to. The deadline for sending me a letter of interest is today. I will be sending out emails tomorrow for those that that will be on the committee, but we really have some wonderfully interested people that are willing to dedicate this amount of time, and I cannot thank them enough. We've got great parent volunteers, great staff volunteers, and students, and unfortunately, I'm going to have to say no to some people to be on the committee. However, we will have a community forum that I will really encourage them to attend so that we get their feedback, because their feedback is going to be instrumental, even if they are not necessarily on the committee. So that's what I have for you right now. If you want me to talk more about the process for the director of DEIA, I'd be happy to, or just continue to update you as the process continues. We were hoping for a July 1st start date. However, the way that the timeline is working out, we think that it will be a week or two after that, where they'll have their final interview with Dr. Cabral. But we think that we'll be okay with that. We definitely do not want to rush this process, and it's the making sure that we're thorough with this process is more important to us.
Great. Any questions for Mrs. Pruitt? Lauren?
Is this process going to be similar to the recent interview? So is there going to be only just one round?
So not necessarily. So when we did the director of special services interviews, we had originally thought that we would have 2 rounds of interviews. However, we didn't need that second round. So we did eliminate that second round. But the process is that it is 2 rounds of interviews. One is a larger pool, and then we narrow it down. However, if we find that there are 2 to 3 candidates after our first round that we feel really comfortable about, that second round might be able to be eliminated. We're not sure yet. So we kind of go with the flow as and really analyze the process as we go through it.
What Christy and I talked about, we won't be able to do is have a site visit to their district. But that actually isn't terrible, because not everybody is in a school right now. Some people are in industry. We did have 23 applications, so we've got a pool to look at and to choose from for for these interviews. So we're very excited about that. And it's gonna take a while to go through. We have paper screening to do. As always, there's a few people that you're wondering, did you read the job description? I'm not sure this is what you're looking for. They're talking about being a coach and wanting a coaching position in their cover letter kind of thing. But even with 23, I mean, even if you get 50% of that, that people are serious and qualified, that's pretty good. So we're very excited about that.
Great. Thank you. So on to school committee notes. Michelle.
I like going last. Miss that. Well, shout out to Mr. Benson on the birth of Anthony today. That's very exciting. And then the 2 music things I know about, because it's kind of winding down. Last night was the RO concert at the high school, and I went there right after the DEI meeting, and it was standing room only. That was just phenomenal. Just an incredible turnout for them. And then EMS is tonight, as you know, and I'm sure it's going wonderfully. I can't wait to hear about it. And that's all I have.
Okay. Great. Nancy?
Okay. Last week, RO grade 5 had their Heritage Day, and some really cute projects, and they're adorable, and the kids did a really, really nice job. This past week, class night, graduation, and Caroline O'Neill's party, which I'm sorry that I missed, but it looked like fun. So Jen, maybe, or Lauren, you can talk about that. Class night just is amazing. There's so many people that donate, and I do want to get up sometimes and say, okay, kids, get your thank you notes, your stamps, your pen, and start writing those thank you notes, but I don't. The junior prom, I believe, is tomorrow night. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So good luck to them. As I think Dr. Cabral talked about earlier, the Easton Educators Association and the Easton Public Schools had their annual retirement party. And I'm just going, if you don't mind, I'm going to list the people that we honored today. Jody Allen, Vivian Capabianco, Joanne Kaufman, Margie Folan, Catherine Papagurlis, Leslie Sicorso, Sharon Stearns, Donna Sullivan, Rose Valenti, and Donna Wilbur. So it's a bit shorter list than we've had in the past, but what a lovely afternoon. And so many, like Leisha was talking about, that, you know, people that taught way before me, you know, they were there, and then people in my era were there, and then the current teachers. So it was a lovely, lovely day. And I'm sure somebody else is going to talk about civics, but as Chrissy said, went around to the 8th grade today and looked at the civics projects. Those kids were amazing, and they have some really good ideas, and you guys know which one I think is the best that we have to work on, but I'm not going to bring it up right now. Also, driving by Blair James the other day, I saw them putting down the sod. The playground looks beautiful. So I know they can't go on the grass for like a year or a year and a half, whatever it's going to be, but hopefully it takes, and because it really looks beautiful. And I'll have you all know that I am the new member from the Municipal Building Committee. I am on the Security Upgrade Interview Committee. So there you go. I'm doing a job. That's it, Jen.
All right. Thank you, Nancy. Lauren?
Oh, goodness. So there's been a lot. And mostly everything has been mentioned already. Graduation was beautiful. Class night also as well. Civics project was fascinating to see the 8th graders and their ideas of what they want to improve in our community and our world. And I'm not sure that at 8th grade I was thinking of things like that. So that was super impressive. What else? What hasn't been mentioned? I went to a 3rd grade STEM day that the teachers put together. And that was super fun, and they did a really good job. And I think everything else has been mentioned. It was a beautiful ceremony today for Mary Romans for the bench. That is, and the plaque by the tennis courts. I think that's it.
Great, thank you. All right, so I think we've covered most of the past couple of weeks, which have just been like a tornado of activity, but such good stuff. I talked to a parent a couple of weeks ago of a senior, and it was her first, to be graduate, and she said, I am so overwhelmed by the amount of events and activities in all the ways that these students are celebrated. So just kudos to everybody at OA, all the faculty and staff who worked so hard, and parent volunteers to give these our students a great send-off. We've talked about most of the stuff. The senior march happened last week through the schools, and really great photos and videos from that. And the student council had a lovely award ceremony. It seems like forever ago. This has been like the longest week ever, but I think that was just last week as well. Pre-K and kindergarten finished up their first year today. I was able to talk to a parent who has a child in both, and they had a great year. And so, just so happy for those kids to have the beautiful space to learn and to play. Um, let's see. I think grade 2 had a concert earlier this week, so I can only imagine how big and loud an event that is with all of the schools together. So I'm sure it was an amazing and fun time.
I will just add to that one that they had the chairs set up in the gymnasium and it was full, and it was really exciting to see all the classes be able to come together and have a venue big enough that they would fit on the stage and all of the parents could watch, and there was enough parking. And aside from the singing, which was great, I posted a couple of little short clips on Twitter. It was just really like a moment to just see them being able to use that space in that way. It was just so great.
That's
Seems like
awesome.
a little thing, but it's something we've never been able to do.
Yeah, no, like it's not a little thing at all. I remember going to second grade concerts at Parkview, and even you just crammed in and standing room only, and they did the best they could with what they had, but I'm glad they have awesome spaces now. So all right, so events coming up over the next weekend and week. Some of our community partners have some big events coming up this weekend. So Easton Wings of Hope Day at Frothingham Park, which is from 12 to 3. There will be lots of games and activities for families, lunch available to purchase, and a free ice cream truck. So do stop by Frothingham and support Eastern Wings of Hope, who does so much for our school and our community. And I will just mention, and Michelle, feel free to jump in if you want to, Easton's second annual Pride celebration will be happening on Sunday at the sheep pasture at 10 a.m. Michelle, do you want to add anything in there?
No, I can't believe I forgot to mention it. We have over 30 vendors this year, and story time, and a therapy pet, and it's just a real family-friendly celebration. So music, DJ, it'll be a lot of fun. So I hope you all stop by.
Definitely looking forward to it. And then looking forward to next week. I know on Monday you've got our second graders, fifth graders, and eighth graders are having their end of the year celebrations and step up days. So exciting transition times for our kids who are moving on to new schools. And of course, field days. I hope weather cooperates for everybody, because there's so much time and planning and effort that goes into pulling those off. So thank you again in advance. And those are largely driven by and supported by each of the school PTAs and PACs, and as along with the faculty and staff. So thank you for always giving our kids these fun ways to wrap up the end of the year. We definitely appreciate it, and those are super memorable. I know my kids remember, counting the number of slushes that they could eat before we put a wristband policy in place so that you couldn't have 14 of them. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, good times. All right. So that is all I had for school committee notes.
Can I add one more thing? I apologize.
Please, yes.
Today, it was confirmed that our open house for the Blanche Ames ribbon cutting ceremony is going to be August 20th. So we had to just put that final piece in there, which was making sure that the MSBA was able to send their team to help us celebrate. We're going to literally cut a ribbon, and then we are going to have some activities for children. We're going to have guided tours through the building. So we hope everybody at this point will save the date. We will be sending out invitations. We will be publicizing and publishing this in a bunch of different places. But if everybody could save the date for August 20th, which is a Sunday, We're going to start at 10 o'clock with the ribbon cutting ceremony, and then 11 o'clock will be the guided tours. We're going to have food trucks here and a DJ for music. And of course, the playgrounds are going to be available for use. And it's just going to be a great day. And we're just really hoping there's great weather so that everybody can check out the outdoor facilities as well as the indoor. Kids can get onto the playground, check everything out. Students that are joining us next year can come and see what it's like. So we're so excited. We've been waiting and waiting to make sure. I mean, some of us still have boxes to unpack. That's true, but we're getting there, and we're hoping by August 20th we'll be completely done and moved in, and all punch list items will be done by the contractor. We'll have plenty of parking and the roads will be open, and August 20th is the date. So it's been confirmed. Please save that.
Great. That's super exciting. All righty. Hopefully I get the wording right. This is the long one. So I make a motion to go into executive session and return to open session for the purposes of, let's see, pursuant to MGL Chapter 30A, subsection 21A7, to comply with open meeting law, to review minutes of prior executive session from May 11th, 2023, and pursuant to MGL Chapter 30A, subsection 21.3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining for Unit A stipends and SPIA, Southeastern Public Employees Association, secretarial, clerical, custodian, and food service units. And in my opinion, having these discussions in open session would compromise the bargaining position of the school committee and confidentiality of executive session minutes. Do I have a second?
Second, DeLuca.
Okay. And roll call vote?
Durance, yes.
DeLuca, yes.
Star, yes.
Loomis, yes.
Okay. All right. So see you in exec session, and then we will return to open session to vote on more minutes and then adjourn.
Lynn, can you send me the Google Meet? I don't think I got it. Please. Thank you.
All right. We'll see you there.
Okay.
Okay. And we are all back. Alrighty, so next up on the agenda is vote to approve minutes. We have several sets of minutes, so we will begin with the regular meeting minutes from May 25th, 2023. Does anybody have any questions or comments about those minutes? So I have just one typo on page 3 under item number 2, school goal number 2, item A. I believe the intent is to read continue implementation of second step social emotional learning curriculum. And there's I crossed out whatever the word was that was in there, but it wasn't second. And that was the only thing I noticed. Anybody else notice anything else? It was very long and thorough, Lynn, so thank you. Great job as always. Okay. All right, so I'll make a motion then to accept the regular school committee minutes as edited from Thursday, May 25th, 2023. Can I get a second?
So moved, DeLuca. Second.
Okay. And roll call vote?
Durance, yes.
DeLuca, yes.
Star, yes.
Loomis, yes.
Okay, great. Okay. Next up are the workshop committee, the committee workshop minutes from Wednesday, May 31st, 2023. This was the open session. So the shorter set of minutes. So any comments, questions on this one? All right, great. So I will make a motion then to accept the Easton School Committee workshop minutes from Wednesday, May 31st, 2023. Can I get a second?
Durance, second.
And roll call vote?
Durance, yes.
DeLuca, yes.
Star, yes.
Loomis, yes.
Okay, great. Alrighty. On to executive session minutes. Let's see. So we have 3 sets of executive session minutes. The first are from May 11th, 2023. These are the ones that we just discussed in executive session and agreed that they need to be edited. So, so we will not be approving those today. Michelle or Nancy, do I need to make a motion specific to those?
I think, yeah. Yeah.
That's a yes?
Yes.
Or no?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I make a motion to move the approval or move the vote of the executive session meeting minutes from May 11th to a future date.
Second, DeLuca.
Okay. All right. And roll call vote?
Durance, yes.
DeLuca, yes.
Star, yes.
Loomis, yes.
Okay. Great. You know, teamwork makes the dream work, right? Okay, so next up are the executive session meeting minutes from May 25th, 2023. So let's see. So I make a motion to review these in a future executive session. Can I get a second?
Durance, second.
Okay, and roll call vote?
Durance, yes.
DeLuca, yes.
Star, yes.
Loomis, yes.
Great. And the last set are the executive session workshop minutes from Wednesday, May 31st, 2023. Does anybody have any questions that you want to discuss in a future executive session? No? Okay. So we can make a motion to approve and release or approve and not release at this time. Does anybody want to make a motion either way?
I make a motion to approve and release, DeLuca.
Great. And can we get a second?
Durance, second.
Roll call vote?
Durance, yes.
DeLuca, yes.
Star, yes.
Loomis, yes.
Great. All righty. And before we adjourn, our next meeting will be at 5 p.m. on Thursday, June 22nd. So see you all in a couple of weeks. And can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Durance.
And a second. I'll second. Okay. And roll call vote.
I feel like I'm doing all the seconds today.
Yeah, we got to get Lauren to jump in. All right. So roll call vote again.
Durance, yes.
DeLuca, yes.
Star, yes.
Loomis, yes.
All right. Great. Thank you, everybody. I know it's late.
Thank
Have
you.
a fabulous night.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Record.